NorCal. 209 King of Comedy. It's Rick without the K. James presents, in my opinion, podcast.
So we talked about some of the growth changes, things you learned. What's some of the things you're going to take from season one, transition to season two? What do you want to see happen in season two? What's your direction?
Just kind of doing what we've done, but doing it better, faster, and more efficient.
Elaborate on the better.
And then better, like now that my son's helping edit videos, it makes it a little faster for me. So we can push out more clips. We can get out more material, grow that catalog a little faster. That helps, you know, when you're the one trying to do everything, and I'm not saying that I was, right? But when you can divvy up the workload to other people and know that it's going to be there, then it makes it a lot easier. So I hope that we can do that, which allows me to go get the different types of material that I want. You know, one of the things that I've been discussing with friends, and I don't know how to do it because I don't want to offend nobody, which is very important. So this is the reason I'm saying it, Ronnie, because I'm hoping that you hold me accountable by the end of season two. Is we need to have the LGBT community come in somehow, some form on season two.
I said I'd love to see that. But remember, we had Emily.
Yes. But we discussed to have maybe a trans. Absolutely. And I don't know if, just to even say it like that, that's where I need to know that I've been discussing it with friends, and I'm like, look, I want to make sure that we don't offend anybody, but I want to make sure that the person that we have on has thick skin so they're not offended. Right. And then I'll feel like the way that translate through the episode, that as long as they're not offended, that we don't offend anybody else. But I know that in this fucking world, everybody gets offended, and that's my biggest thing. Is we live in this world now, especially at work. You know, you just recently started a new career path too, right? So you're learning that if me, you, and there's a third person in the room, if we're talking and this third person gets offended by what the fuck we're saying, like, then we can get in trouble. And I just live in an old school world where I'm like, it was an A-B conversation, bitch. You can see your way out of it. So I'm hoping that that's how we can translate the same shit that I want to do for that episode. So I think that episode, we're going to have to pre-plan way more than we would for any other episode. So
that would be to me, that would be an extremely interesting topic, and we had talked about this before. I'd love to have that kind of people, and we could almost treat it like we did when we had Greg and Chris on, where a little bit of an education, a little bit of understanding, and a little bit of, learning things. Because, you joke around about me being ignorant, and, you saying trans, that's kind of an ignorant statement, to be honest. No. I think you get thrown under the bus for that.
Oh, I think so. And that's why I caught off, because I'm like... Yeah. Because I would like to find a video that I got from some training, and they were like, you can't say tranny, you can't say, and I would love to bring that PowerPoint and be like, look, what are you supposed to say? And I mean that in the way that, please educate me.
Please.
Not to, like, what do you mean? You should know what to say. And I'm like, not really, because I don't live in that community, so I need you to teach me as such. And I was just having this conversation last weekend with a friend, and I think she was getting offended by some of the questions, and was like, you need to realize, and this is the conversation we'll have off the camera as well, is you need to realize that most people are at this level, and you might be at this level with the topic. So you need to learn how to get to this level before you have the episode.
See, and this is the thing.
But I was thinking that the episode is to get me to that level.
Exactly.
So I don't want to offend nobody, and if I say it that way, they're going to be like, well, why didn't you get to this level before? Where I'm like, what the fuck are we going to do
this? See, we're talking about our show, which to me is very important, because this is one of the things that happened between me and Greg on our show, where Greg was like, how come he didn't know this? Remember?
Yeah.
Greg was actually offended at a couple questions I asked. And it wasn't meant to be that way. It was meant to try to learn. And so that's one of the things I think that's great about this show too, is we're asking questions about stuff that maybe me and you don't understand the community. And I think that's important that we're not, I mean, I'm not transgender. I don't know anyone close to me that's transgender. So it'd be very important. I would love to hear, educate me, talk to me. Don't just look down on me because I'm not at your level or I don't know.
And
get me there.
And I'm glad you said it that way, because that's why I said trans, because I was like, again, 10 years ago it was okay to say transsexual. Now it's transgender.
See, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known
Where,
that.
again, we had this in our training. So it's not to offend anybody, but it's like, you know, so I'm hoping that whoever we decide to have on that episode comes and does like a training for us, so we can provide better information or whatever else we need, so we don't come off as a bunch of fucking retards on that episode.
It's so funny, a couple of the things you mentioned, not that we're talking about our show, but this is in my opinion. And it's really funny to, you talk about being an old man, which you're 10 years younger than me. I remember in the 80s when we were talking to people, we could say something, I could call you, like, I probably shouldn't even say it, but I could call you names and joke around about stuff. And you don't give a flying fuck what the other person thinks. But nowadays, if I call you a name and I offend Sean, like you said, it's just as bad as if I said it directly to you. It's funny how much things have changed when it comes to that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what we're gonna have to figure out, to find topics like that for season 2, and then to have more open dialogue. And that's what I hope to do for season 2, is to have stuff like that. I mean, is there any topics that you're like, hey man,
I want to ask you a couple more.
Because I know personally the difference between us is, like, you watch a lot of sports. Mm-hmm. I don't. So I purposely stayed away from that, because if we're going to talk sports, we're going to talk about, like, The Last Dance, because I remember watching those games. I remember when Jordan played. I couldn't even tell you, like, I just found out James Harden was fucking...
Who's Jordan?
Boy, Charlie Murphy, the main man, Rick James. That's the one you think, the comedian Rick James. Get up.
I can't hear my neighbor crying, I can't breathe.
Please hit the subscribe button down low so you can see all new clips, all new episodes coming to you.